Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk is suing Twitter employees who break their NDAs, their non disclosure agreements. This is very different from the Twitter files, the Twitter Hunter laptop files, or the Twitter files part 1 through part 4. Very different. When people say, well, Elon Musk doesn't like information out in the open, but he likes information out in the open if it harms Democrats. Well, okay, number one, people were saying, like they do with Wikipedia, like they do with other platforms, that there's no liberal bias, there's no Democratic Party bias at all. Not only did we find that out, that there was extreme bias, but we found out government intervention and involvement, which is what the First Amendment protects against. We just had an hour and a half live stream on the Twitter Files Part 4. I will have a live stream tomorrow as well at 5:45 p.m. We had 500 viewers on our live stream this evening. We've done very well with, this channel has done very well with the Twitter file revelations. I remember the Democratic National Committee emails that proved Bernie Sanders was being mistreated and railroaded by Democrats who claimed a fair and neutral primary. When they open their mouths, they're lying. And so when they said for years, there's no bias on Twitter, it's completely apolitical, we're doing it to benefit you. The Federal Bureau of Investigation got involved. Government agencies, Department of Homeland got involved. And then House Democrats on the Twitter Files Part 1 got involved. Government got involved in censoring and silencing and suppressing speech. That is breaking First Amendment law. Twitter officials did that. Trump is going to almost certainly sue these specific Twitter officials personally. And I will talk about that very soon. Almost certainly we'll have a segment on that tomorrow. Trump is going to sue all of those Twitter officials. But Elon Musk threatens to sue Twitter employees who break NDAs. This is a TMZ article. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the Twitter Files Part 4 as well. Be here tomorrow for the live stream, or when you watch this, it might be Sunday, 5:45 p.m. on H.A. Goodman. I will have segments on H.A. Goodman's other channel and the Stock Market Crash channel. Eventually, I always say I will have segments, but I will have segments on Sunday. But if you're watching this on Sunday, it's Saturday evening right now. I just finished a live stream. Be here for the Sunday evening live stream at 5:45 p.m. on the Twitter Files Part 5. The Twitter Files Part 5, I believe Barry Weiss is going to be the journalist that releases those, I believe. But Elon Musk is doing an amazing thing. And we found out today, or this evening, in Part 4, that not only were they banning Trump, but they did so without any regard for established protocol or guidelines or bureaucracy. When they get caught in the act, ladies and gentlemen, Twitter officials say, well, we're just following bureaucratic protocol and norms. When we find out what's going on in the Twitter files, they blatantly censored their political opponents because they had no answer for Trump. And so they accused him of criminal activity or condoning or inciting or compelling criminal activity. That was not only never proven in a court of law, they didn't even have evidence to indict him on anything to do with January. After a January panel, and they still won't with the special counsel. It's been 2 years. The average Democrat will be like the meme, the Titanic meme with the lady who was on the Titanic. She's like 96 years old, and the meme is like, it's been 84 years, something like that. So they'll be waiting forever. Then there's another meme with like a skeleton just like, waiting for something. They'll be waiting forever to indict Trump because they don't have any crimes. They banned him because they fabricated this new protocol or guideline on Twitter. They did that with a whole bunch of people, from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They tried to do that with Matt Gaetz. They tried to do that with a whole bunch of conservatives, like something like well over 100. Charlie Kirk, Dan Bongino. And this is very different from Elon Musk purchasing a company and not wanting disgruntled employees to run to any number of publications from the Washington Post, New York Times, every other liberal publication or publication that sides directly with the Democratic Party, that has an overt, not just bias, they're extensions of the Democratic Party. Twitter was an extension of the Democratic Party. They don't have every single possible advantage. They barely held on to the Senate, ladies and gentlemen. So they lost the House by like 3.5 million votes. They barely held on to the Senate. They needed Adam Laxalt to lose last second. And that's why I say Trump has to form bonds with the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties. He must do that. I mean, he has to do that. If he doesn't do that, or DeSantis doesn't do that, it's a big problem. Hit subscribe again. If you want to become a Patreon of this channel, ladies and gentlemen, your Patreon support is greatly appreciated. $1, $5, $10, whatever. If you enjoy the content, your Patreon support is greatly, greatly appreciated. But the Twitter Files Part 4, we found out that the Federal Bureau of Investigation was working directly with Twitter officials, and these Twitter officials were giddy and gleeful. And Trump's lawsuit initially against Twitter was thrown out of court because, well, the government wasn't involved, but we know now the government was involved. Trump did not incite or compel any criminal activity. He never did with violence or with mayhem or chaos. He never told anyone to do anything. Democrats actually said much worse than Trump. There are Democratic politicians who stated they wanted to punch him, who told her constituents to get in people's faces. Okay, that's considered assault in some cities or counties. And you have people who are completely delusional. They say, oh, well, Trump was thrown off because his tweets caused criminal activity. Nothing could be further from the truth. These are the people who are the arbiters of truth, reason, and civility and decorum. Polite society believes that Trump was banned because his tweet compelled criminal activity. Polite society is composed of a bunch of very wealthy imbeciles who are usually wrong on every major topic from foreign policy to domestic issues. And they just run on groupthink. And they had power, and they could wield that influence against Trump, and they did so. And that's what, like, Trump and DeSantis both have to understand the advantages. Democrats have every conceivable possible advantage. They have every conceivable advantage. And Trump and DeSantis have to circumvent, overcome, and acknowledge their advantages and use their own competitive advantages. Like, for example, Trump should be on a media tour yesterday. He introduced his run for president. He officially said he's running for president. So now he has to be on every talk show. Go on The View. They won't be able to resist him. If he goes on The View tomorrow, okay, of course the ladies at The View will find him, reprehensible. Oh my God, but he can defend himself, and he needs to do so in a calm, relaxed manner. He can do that if he wants to regain the Oval Office. That's what he needs to do. He needs to get on The View, for example. That's just an example, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't lost my mind. I haven't gone bonkers. But he needs to get on CNN, MSNBC, and explain why Twitter Files 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 or each of these revelations are so detrimental. Free speech is the foundation of this country. Democrats can't stand. They need to silence and suppress and censor because the truth about Hunter and graft and potential bribery schemes, these are felonies that Joe could have committed, very likely committed along with Hunter. Democrats can't have that, so they push to silence. That's what happened on Twitter. Started with the Hunter laptop, then ended with, hey, let's just ban everyone we don't like. And when the Washington Post says democracy perishes in darkness, they really meant Twitter, and they really meant let's silence and censor everybody, and if we can't, let's just disparage them and take their words out of context and demean them, like they do with Trump. Trump doesn't do himself any favors, okay, with the whole Constitution thing. Okay, but they lie about Trump, and in America, and it took me years to realize this, years. Voters primarily, or I should say half the country, cares only about optics. The Democratic Party. People who vote Democrat care only about optics and groupthink. And they will believe any sensationalized, absurd statement like, oh, Twitter is not biased. Oh, yes, it was. Not only was it biased, it was an extension of the Democratic Party influenced by government. You're breaking First Amendment laws, and Trump's initial lawsuit was thrown out because the judge said, well, they're not working with government. Oh, oopsie. Now we're finding that out. Very different from Elon Musk suing individuals who just go run and try to get the New York Post or New York Times or Washington Post or others to just write a hit piece on Elon Musk. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you so very much. Be here tomorrow for the live stream at 5:45 p.m. Thank you.